What's good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, and the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. What's happening with the news affecting the markets as we have some big data coming out for tomorrow. And what are some very important levels to watch for all these different charts. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Now, that offer ends in just about 5 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla and the market. So, we got a very, very monstrous run from Tesla, SPY, and all these different tickers for today in the markets, as we saw the thing that we were expecting and anticipating for the bonds markets, not to mention the yields and the dollar index and etc. So I'm just going to kind of like quickly talk about that before I break down why tomorrow is going to be even more significant than today. So the dollar, as we were talking about earlier, it had this head and shoulders, and this helped Tesla and all these different stocks start to pump even more. You can see the dollar clear head and shoulders. It's cooling off very, very nicely. And we're getting that confirmation of a bearish break for the dollar. On top of that, the 10-year treasury yield is also now down 3%. So it was down like 2% at open. Now it's down over 3.4%. So it's dropping even harder as well. So with yields dropping, with the dollar dropping, the market is seeing more and more buyers stepping in as money is being repositioned during the war into areas which are considered more safe. So with that going on, with the market pumping the way it is, this helped Tesla pump quite a bit. And we had some very, very interesting headlines coming out. There was news that came out that Tesla has rejected the union claims that happened in Germany. They're basically claiming that their uh, workers have gone over necessary procedures, safety measures, and etc. And they basically worked very, very hard to train them well and give them very, very necessary safety measures and etc. with protective clothing and things like that. The company did not really address the claims yet, and we'll see if anything changes from that. And so far, this is very, very interesting to see if this leads to more and more workers just like protesting or joining the strikes or not. We'll have to wait and see on that. If we get more news about that, that could be a little negative for Tesla, but the overall market, the bonds market, is still trumping this news and it's still affecting Tesla a lot more. So, two things to remember about the markets. Number one, we have a couple of Fed speakers coming out today. We have Waller speaking today at 1:30 p.m. So, up here at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time for New York time. We have Waller giving a speech, and we have Kashkari giving a speech at 3 o'clock p.m. My time, by the way, guys, is all for Pacific time. My time is different. But don't forget that very soon we have two more Fed speakers that could affect the market to some extent, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy. Now, the other thing to remember about the market is going to be that tomorrow we have the PPI data coming out. That's going to be 1 hour before the market opens. PPI is a very, very important leading indicator of CPI. So if PPI is hotter than expected during this cycle, that would suggest to us that the next CPI could be a little hot, and we have to be very careful. If it's the exact opposite, if it's decent, that could be a good sign that CPI is going to be decent as well. The expectations are that it's going to be very, very close to the previous report. So we'll see what happens with PPI. If you want to hold through this report coming out, that is your choice. Okay, it's all your choice if you want to hold through it. If you don't want to hold any like equities or any positions like options or anything like that through this, it's really your choice as well. So if you don't really want to do it, it's the risk you're going to be taking. It's your choice, but just know tomorrow before the market opens, the status coming out, it could cause a very, very big move. We also have the FOMC minutes tomorrow, which is going to be a little bit later on during the day. That's going to cause even more volatility. So, anyways, now let's talk about the charts. How are things looking? How is SPY and Tesla and all these stocks looking? What on earth is going on? Let's start off with Tesla. Well, we got a very, very monstrous pump all the way up to this 268 area, which is very awesome to have witnessed. But right now, the market's cooling off just a bit, but not looking that bad. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders right over here on Tesla. Got a very, very nice break to the upside. It has more potential to go up if we could get a very, very strong close, and as long as the bulls, they remain where they are. So here's some levels to watch for it. Currently, Tesla has a very, very strong amount of resistance at this 268 area. You can see Tesla rejected off that so far, and now it's starting to cool off a little bit. You're going to be watching support right now at this 265 area. We're currently at 265.6. If that fails us, there is potential for it to come down to 264. Some support, but it's not as strong as 263. 263 to 262.5 is going to be very strong support for Tesla. If that fails us, to watch 260 and then 257. Now, as of right now, we're at 265, so we'll see how that holds for the time being. And the market is due for a slight cool off, which is completely fine. But buyers are starting to step in again. For resistance, watch Tesla try to test 266. If that breaks, well, we have a tendency of shuffling a lot in the 266 area. If we break that, watch 268. If that breaks, if 268 breaks, there is potential for us to push towards 270. Then watch 272, 274, and 274 is going to be the strongest resistance here so far. So remember this zone right here. We're seeing Tesla just trading sideways for the most part now, between 265 and 268. It's been going back and forth for the last couple of hours since that big pump that happened. So we're going to be watching this and see how Tesla moves moving forward. Those are some very, very important levels. But as of right now, what I will tell you is that we're making higher highs and higher lows. This trend is looking more bullish, so the odds do favor more upside. This will be impacted by PPI coming out tomorrow. So hold at your own will or not when it comes to like options and trading and things like that, right? That is your own choice. Just wanted to make that as clear as possible. On the QQQ, we have some other very important levels to watch for. We're going to be watching 370 acting as support. As long as we hold 370, we're going to be in a very, very good place. If 370 holds us, right? If we hold 370, we're going to be watching this thing eventually try to push up for 372.6. So long as we hold, and if that breaks, 374 to 375 are on the table. If we break below 370, you're going to be watching support at 368. And if that fails, let's watch 366. As of right now, with this very, very nice uptrend, the odds do favor upside for the QQQ, but this will depend on PPI going into tomorrow. So watch these levels very carefully. The trend does look more bullish overall nonetheless. Now, for Nvda, okay, Nvidia is on a very, very strong uptrend. We were talking about this thing potentially testing the 461s if we ended up breaking this, 457 area. We managed to not just break it, but we actually soared above it towards 461. If that breaks, watch this thing try to get up to 463, then 465. Those are some very, very tight levels. If 465 breaks, we could start trying to fill this gap again very close to 470. So watch these levels very, very carefully. Now it's trying to hold above 462. It's looking a little stronger right now. It's trying to bounce. So let's see if this thing can get above 463. If it does so, it's going to turn even more bullish. As of right now, Nvidia is outperforming. It's doing very, very well. For support, if it does break down, watch this previous resistance becoming support at 457. That's going to be very important. And then below that, we have the next level below that's going to be very close to this 452.5 area. So for now, it's holding up quite nicely. Things are looking quite decent, and Nvidia is looking very, very well so far. Now for Aapl stock, it's also holding up quite nicely. We actually have a rising wedge forming on it. However, it's not that bad in my opinion. It's not looking like horrendous or anything like that. It's been continuing to uptrend. It's still trying to invalidate this. If Aapl breaks 180, it could try to invalidate this rising wedge. If it breaks below this trend line right here, which is currently around this in the 178.5-ish area, if we do break below that, Aapl could turn bearish and come back down to 177.5 and 176.5. So watch this rising wedge carefully. We'll see if this plays out or not. We could always invalidate this and keep pushing up higher if we manage to break and hold 180. So far, we're getting stopped from doing so. So watch resistance right now at 179.68 and then 179.5. Those are some resistance zones, the entire zone for the time being. If it breaks, watch 180 and these higher levels. But for now, Apple's holding up. Finally, for SPY, I know I kind of skipped SPY. Don't forget, I didn't skip SPY. I didn't really forget about it. It's just right here. So on SPY, this thing's on a very strong uptrend. We're back at 437, holding up very nicely. The buyers stepped in and they defended their areas again. So watch 437 as resistance. If we get above that, watch 437.5 as the next level. If we get above that, I could see 438, which is another very, very tight level. And then if we break above 437.5 specifically, there's a good chance that we're not just going to break 438, but possibly 438.5 could be tested for the gap fill. And then we could reject somewhere around there between 438 and 438.5. Because generally, when we fill gaps, we tend to see some sellers step in. So we could see this retrace just a little bit if that ends up being the case. So watch this uptrend. We have a rising wedge as well. If you want to turn bearish, you want to see it break below support at 435. If 435 breaks, we could come right back down to 433. But as of right now, it's holding up quite nicely. We have a very strong uptrend, which should continue. And if it does continue, if we do break 438, watch 438.5. And if that somehow breaks, which is unlikely, I would say, 440 would technically be the next level. But just for today specifically, I mean, if we get to 438.5, that's where we could get some kind of rejection, like a bigger one, or even 438, because once again, once we fill the gap, we should see some sellers step in. That's what typically tends to happen. All right, so those are some support and resistance levels to watch for. For SPY specifically, we're currently testing this 437 area, so we'll watch that very carefully. And with that said, I just thank every single one of you so much for listening. All right, so have a great day, guys. Watch your levels very carefully. No, Tesla's doing quite well so far. Watch support and resistance, and I'll see you guys very soon for the last video of the day. Market is looking quite good so far. Thank you so much for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular day. And let me just check Tesla one last time before I end this. Tesla's still holding up nicely above 266. All right, so it's looking good so far. We'll be watching these levels. I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you again, and peace out.